Switch Radio Sport. This is Switch.
Worcester City win that game and they will be in Division 1 Midlands next season.
Chance in ball control. Job's got chance in the penalty, gets shot in and goes to the back of the net, and Cheyenne Jarvis gets the second goal for Leaford Athletic this afternoon. Found space in the 6-yard box.
Back to the edge of the penalty area with the pass, crossing towards the back post, headed goalwards and in!
That's a great shot from De Castro! Oh, what a save for Gray! And the win keep 2-0!
Stourbridge have won the Division 1 Midlands title.
The Women's Football Chat on Switch Radio.
Good evening, welcome along to the Women's Football Chat here on Switch Radio. Chris Gadsby with you here for the next hour, continuing the sport until 6 o'clock this evening with all of the very latest from the third and fourth tiers of women's football in England. That's the FA Women's National League, and it was an almost full programme of fixtures at the weekend, and there's been some midweek games as well, so we've got plenty to bring you between now and 6 p.m, including a narrow victory for Boldmere St Michael's away at Notts County.
Two apiece here at Coronation Park. Grace Gregory on the ball, bringing it forward. Ruparelia, ball forward. Chance here for Kenny Davis, break for the Bombers St Michael's. Chance here, one-on-one the goalkeeper. Might finish this, get to a goalkeeper, and that's a superb finish. And Bombers St Michael's retake their lead here at Coronation Park. An overlap ball by Ruparelia through to Keely Davis, and Bombers St Michael's are in front here at Coronation Park as they're Notts County 2, Boldmere St Michael's 3. And great work there by Boldmere St Michael's, take the lead here.
You'll hear from Boldmere's captain Jade Formaston between now and 6 this evening, plus a rundown of all the results, important news from the past 7 days and what it could mean for some of the clubs towards the bottom of the tables, and a look ahead to another filler week with the end of the season now just 4 weeks away. It's all on the Women's Football Chat with you until 6. Come then between now and 6 o'clock on the Women's Football Chat here on Switch Radio. We've got a lot to get through, so we'll start with the news. And the big news from the past 7 days is that the Football Association has decided not to press ahead with a proposal to expand tiers 3 to 6 of the English women's football pyramid that would have led to B teams from Super League and Championship sides introduced into the lower leagues from the 26-27 season. This is according to The Guardian. You'll remember a few weeks ago these proposals that came out that would introduce some WSL B teams into tier 4 and other B teams going lower down the pyramid as part of an expansion to 14 teams. Now that we understand now is not happening. Whether this is wholly as a result of the consultation or whether this is also partly with the WPLL expansion plans for the WSL and the Championship, or what they want to rename as to WSL2, we don't know. But it is understood that the FA consulted all clubs, including holding events across the country. A survey completed by 144 clubs. Of those, just under 55% said they supported the proposals overall, but wider feedback received has led to the FA deciding to take more time to find the right solutions for the future of the lower league. So that therefore sounds as though, although the clubs on the whole, or just over half of them, supported it, the wider view, i.e. from people on social media, people consulted, says that it wasn't a good idea and now they are rethinking. So the plans that would have led to tiers 3 and 4 of the pyramid increasing from 12 to 14 per division, and the changes to the promotion rules as well. The 3 up, 3 down with a playoff situation seems to therefore not be happening either. The existing 1 up, 1 down structure will remain in place across the leagues, but it's understood there remains a commitment from the FA to continue reviewing the options for how the leagues should look in the future. One of the key reasons the proposals were drawn up was that the governing body wanted to find ways to enhance the amount of competitive matches 16 to 19-year-olds were receiving. So discussions are ongoing about that, but any future changes now, the earliest they could come in would have to be summer of 27 ahead of the 27-28 season. So we've got a little bit more time now of 12 teams per league, and the same 1 up, 1 down system that we've got from the it's 2 up, 1 down from the Championship into tier 3, but then 1 up, 1 down into each of the tier 4 leagues, fed from the tier 3 leagues above. So we're going to stay with the same system we've got now for a little bit longer after the Football Association has decided to drop plans for a women's pyramid expansion at the moment. Whether that will then come back in, as I said, once we know exactly what's going to happen with the WSL and WSL2 expansion plan there, with the promotion but not the relegation. So we'll have to see what happens with that over the coming time. But for now, it's all going to stay as it is. What, of course, that means for some of the teams towards the bottom of the leagues is it might make things a little bit easier for them to stay where they are, in terms of if there's only 2 teams going down rather than 3 now, it makes things a little bit more comfortable for some of the teams down towards the bottom. The flip side, of course, is that teams towards the top of the tables coming up it's going to be a little bit harder to continue to come up. Speaking of coming up and going down, you'll remember from a couple of weeks ago we spoke about this reprieve that's going on for teams in 11th spot across the FAWNL, depending on the geography, because there's only 1 team coming down from the Championship. It's going to leave teams short. A couple of really important results over the last couple of games for Portsmouth, who really struggled. They were on 3 points from 15 games. They've now won a couple of games in succession. They've lifted themselves from bottom of the table up to 9th. It means that Sheffield United are currently the side in the bottom spot of the Women's Championships. As things stand at the minute, the reprieve for the teams in 11th spot would go to the team in 11th in the Southern Premier Division, which is currently Plymouth Argyle, and because of Plymouth then staying in Tier 3, it would mean that Division 1 South West is short, and at the minute that's Portishead Town who would be saved in order to keep the leagues balanced. Of course, that could change with a few games to go, but with Sheffield United in 11th, Blackburn Rovers in 10th, it now needs a couple of really good results from those sides to get Portsmouth back into that 11th spot. So it looks a bit more likely now, particularly with Sheffield United only having 4 games left to go, a bit more likely that is sort of how it's going to work. Of course, South East, South West, that depends on who finishes in 11th in the Southern Premier Division. It could be Plymouth Argyle, it could be Billericay Town or Cheltenham Town, but Cheltenham or Plymouth, of course, that's kind of a southwest region. Billericay Town over towards southeast. So we'll have a close eye on that over the coming days and weeks. The end of the season now just 4 weeks away. Final bit of news then before we get into the results. We have had our first promotion into the FAWNL. The Northwest Women's Regional Premier Division champions Wythenshawe are going to be joining Division 1 North for the 25-26 season. So we're 1 down, 7 to go from Tier 5 getting into Tier 4. Right, still plenty to go through then on this week's Women's Football Chat, so let's get straight down to it with the Northern Premier Division results. As I said, there was, not quite a full programme at the weekend. We've had midweek fixtures as well. But, of course, with two teams taking part in the FAWNL Cup final, which we'll come on to later, there wasn't a full programme in the Northern Premier Division. But Halifax losing by 2-1 at home to Liverpool Feds. They had taken the lead from Sarah Hassanin in the 13th minute, but Seren Carrington equalised before half-time. And then with 5 minutes to go, Lucy Crook gave Liverpool Feds all 3 points. Game towards the bottom of the table, Hull City 1, Sporting Cowser 1. Shakala Brooks in the 3rd minute had put Hull in front, but Layla Kennelly equalised before the half-hour mark. Difficult afternoon for Stourbridge. They lose by 5-0 against Rugby Borough. 2 for May Moncaster, 1 as well for Jessica Camwell, Yasmin Mosby and Angelina Nixon for Rugby. Black Country Derby, Wolverhampton Wanderers against West Bromwich Albion. Convincing win for Wolves. They are still on Forest's heels, hoping for a mistake. Tammy George, Rebecca Anderson, Charlotte Greengrass, Amber Hughes and Destiny Toussaint with the goals for Wolves. And then on Wednesday evening, Halifax, a last minute doesn't do it justice, last second winner away at Hull City has meant that they survive at least until the end of this weekend. Halifax had to win that game to avoid relegation in midweek, and they have done so with a goal in the last second of the game. What it means for the Northern Premier Division table, there's been no movement since last week. Forest didn't play, they stayed top. They are now just 2 points above Wolves, although they do still have a game in hand. Stoke City remain 3rd, they didn't play in the league either. Burnley are 4th, Rugby Borough 5th on 35 points. They are out of contention. It is going to be one of the top 4 who get promotion into the Championship. It does still look likely that it will be Forest, but a couple of dropped games for them and it could bring Wolves right back into it. West Bromwich Albion in 7th, Derby County in 8th, Hull remain in 9th. Sporting Cowser are 10th on 15 points. Stourbridge in 11th on 5 after they were deducted that point last week, and Halifax in 12th but now on 4 points with 4 games left to go. So Halifax, in order to survive in the Northern Premier Division, they need to win out and hope that Sporting Cowser lose their remaining 3 games. Halifax can only get now to 16 points. They can't catch Hull City. Stourbridge are in 11th. They're on 5. If they win out, they get to 17 points. So they, in theory, can still catch Hull City, but they have a goal difference which is 29 worse than Hull City's. So they've got a big swing. They've got to win every game and have a big goal difference swing in order to survive. So Hull City, Derby County now in 8th are safe with 18 points. Hull City in 9th are basically safe with their 17. Sporting Cowser have 15 and they are in 10th. It's worth noting as well, one of Stourbridge and Halifax will be going down because they have each other this weekend, so they cannot both win out. So yeah, it's one of them are going down and one of them will be down by the end of the weekend. Of course, unless something massive happens in the Championship and then it ends up saving the team in 11th. So it is still a really important game because there is that chance that one of them does get saved. Through then into the Southern Premier Division, Exeter City 2, Cheltenham Town 1. Goals in this one. Amber Pollock had put Exeter City in front before Doris Greenwood equalised right after the half-time break. Maya Kendall then in the 61st minute put Exeter back in front and they held on to a 2-1 win. Biggest result though, arguably, in the Southern Premier Division from the last weekend. Gwali United beating #United by 2-0. Gwali United flirting with relegation relegation down towards the bottom. Hashtag United, of course, still fighting for that league title, but they lose by 2-0. Eleanor Cole in the 25th minute and Casey Gregson in the 75th minute for Gwalia. A valuable 3 points for them that has practically secured their safety. Go on to that when we examine the table in a few moments' time. And Ipswich Town took full advantage of Hashtag United dropping points. They beat Plymouth Argyle by 3-1 at Portman Road. It was a great afternoon for them in front of a crowd of nearly 11,000, 10,807 the attendance there at Ipswich. They took the lead early on. Lucy O'Brien in the 2nd minute. Natasha Thomas in the 25th and Sophie Peskett in the 57th put Ipswich Town comfortably in front. Charlotte Whitmore did get one back for Plymouth at 7 minutes from time. It was nothing more than just a consolation goal for them. Lewis 3, Billericay Town 0. Katie Gilligan put Lewis in front early on in the 3rd minute, and then 2 in the second half relatively quickly. Paula Howes in the 72nd and Adakite Fatuga in the 76th minute. So 2 goals 5 minutes apart for Lewis meant they had a relatively comfortable game against Billericay Town in the end. AFC Wimbledon beating Milton Keynes Dons away from home by 3-0. Ashley Hinks in the 16th minute and a brace for Eleanor Dorey, 32nd and 82nd minute with the goals for AFC Wimbledon. And a goalless draw played out between Oxford United and Watford. Those were the results from the weekend. And then on Wednesday night, AFC Wimbledon drawing 1-1 with Watford. So just 2 points from the week for Watford, and what that has meant for the Southern Premier Division table is that Ipswich Town go back to the top. They are now level on points of Hashtag United, but with a much better goal difference, a goal difference that is 26 better, and they do also have 2 games in hand, so they've got 4 to play. They're top of the table on 45 points with a goal difference of 59. Hashtag United second, but they've just got 2 games left and are also on 45 points, but with a goal difference of 33. So 6 points will do it for Ipswich Town. 7 to be absolutely sure, but with the goal difference, 6 will do it. Exeter City third on 42, but they've also just got 2 games left to play. Watford are in 4th on 37 points, have 3 games left to play. Those 2 draws for Watford this week has taken them out of it. They're on 37. Their max is 46, and Ipswich are on 45 with 4 games left to play. So mathematically still possible, but realistically that's it for Watford now. Those extra 4 points would have put them on 41, and you could argue they would still be, slightly in the conversation. Oxford United in 5th on 36. Then there's the big drop to Lewis on 28 points in 6th. Wimbledon 7th on 27. And then there's the drop again. But this is where it gets interesting towards the bottom. So Gwalia United, with that win over Hashtag United, are up to 8th and on 22 points from 19 games. Cheltenham Town on 20 points from 20 games in 9th. Billericay Town 17 points from 20 games in 10th. Plymouth Argyle 16 points from 20 games in 11th. Milton Keynes Dons, of course, already relegated out of the Southern Premier Division. So Gwalia United, with that win over Hashtag United, have moved themselves 6 points clear of the relegation zone, with Plymouth only having 6 points left to play for, and there is a 20 goal swing in Gwalia's favour with the goal difference. So Plymouth Argyle, with 2 games left to go, are now looking like they are not going to be able to catch Gwalia United. The 2 games left for Plymouth are Wimbledon at home and then Gwalia away. But with Gwalia now, again, with the better goal difference as well, looking like they have secured their Southern Premier Division status for another season, with a 6-point gap with 2 games to go. Cheltenham as well, they have a 4-point gap to Plymouth Argyle with 2 games to go, and also a much better goal difference. So it's starting to look in the Southern Premier Division like it's going to be between Billericay Town and Plymouth Argyle. And of course, if things again stayed the same way as they are currently in the Championship, then they will both survive, thanks to needing to balance those leagues out. But Billericay Town, Oxford United and Wimbledon still to play in their final 2 games. So Wimbledon playing both 10th and 11th. Then Billericay face Oxford, and Plymouth Argyle have Gwalior. So it's going to be interesting to watch that between those two and see what happens. There's a point difference between them at the moment. The goal difference is about the same, so even a draw could be enough. And we'll have to see how that plays out. But we'll have to wait a while to see how that plays out, because they just have 2 games left to play each, which means they'll play on the 13th of April and the 27th of April. So it's all going to look very similar there for quite a while in the Southern Premier Division. Let's move through then into Tier 4. We'll start with Division 1 Midlands. Lincoln United losing to Peterborough United by just a 1-0. Almost getting a very good point for Lincoln United. But Keir Perkins for Peterborough in the 45+1 minute, giving Lincoln United no points from that game, and Peterborough keeping up that charge towards the top. Loughborough Lightning, though, beating Barnsley Wins by 3-0. 2 for LMA Coots in the 25th and the 74th minute, and 1 for Lauren Purchase as well in the 35th minute, giving Loughborough Lightning a 3-0 win. Northampton Town, a very convincing win over Lincoln City, 12-0. There was 7-0 at half time. 2 for Kimberly Farrow and 2 for Faith Horner, but that's not the story of the afternoon. The story is Jade Bell. She's done this before, I believe, in the reverse fixture, if memory serves me right, against Lincoln City. 19th minute, 28th, 33rd, 52nd, 63rd, 65th, 69th, 93rd. 8 goals for Jade Bell in the game against Lincoln City. Her 30th league goal of the season now. And with a few weeks to go in the season, she is just casually 16 goals clear in the Golden Boot race in Division 1 Midlands. I think it's safe to say that she has that sewn up. Notts County 2, Boldmere St Michael's 3. So a good win there for Boldmere St Michael's, as I said, away at Notts County. Keely Davis with the winning goal in that game. Worcester City 2, Sutton Coldfield Town 3. So Worcester had taken the lead early on in this game through Annie Highway in the 4th minute, and Keely May Crew in the 26th minute had put them 2-0 in front. But Sutton Coldfield Town fought back. Amelia Kirk in the 35th minute, Freya Smith in the 42nd when they went in level at half time, and then Lauren DeCasto with 3 minutes to go in the game made it 3-2 to Sutton Coldfield Town. And Leafield Athletic, a comfortable victory over Solihull Moors, winning by 7-1. Georgia Neath with the only goal for the visitors, but a hat-trick for Evangeline Gallup, and then 1 each for Janelle Stracker, Angie Morley, Tiara Jade and Lucy Davis meant it was very comfortable for Leafield Athletic. What that means for the Division 1 Midlands table: Loughborough Lightning, then Northampton Town, Peterborough United, Leafield Athletic all winning. So the top, and Boldmere St Michael's in 5th. So the top of the table all looks exactly the same as it did. Loughborough top, 48 points from 18 games. Northampton Town, 48 points from 20 games. Peterborough, 47 points from 20 games. Leafield Athletic, 45 from 19 games. Boldmere St Michael's on 37 from 20 games, cannot now win the league. So it is between those top 4. Loughborough, of course, still the favourites. They've got games in hand and they're already level at the top. One of those games in hand, though, is against Leafield Athletic. If Leafield can win that game, get themselves level with Loughborough, and there's just 1 game then between the two of them, it could get a little bit more interesting. However, Loughborough Lightning's goal difference of 64 is significantly better than Leafield Athletics. Northampton Town, after putting 12 past Lincoln City, the only one that kind of remotely close to Loughborough Lightning, and they will still be the favourites to return to the Northern Premier Division. Barnsley Women's are up to 6th after Notts County lose. against Notts County lose against Boldmere St Michael, and the bottom is pretty much still the same as well, but Lincoln City have now been relegated out of the FAWNL. They are on a minus 104 goal difference with just 1 point this season, so they now cannot catch Worcester City. Solihull Moors, they are 4 points away from safety with now just 2 games left to go. Northampton Town and Notts County, their remaining 2 fixtures, but again, similar to what we've just said in the south, it'll be very difficult it's going to be a long time, rather, should I say, before that's confirmed, because they've only got 2 games to go, and it's now the 13th of April is the next game, so we've got to wait a couple of weeks for some of these sides to play again. Anybody on 20 games already is not playing again until the 13th of April, so it's going to very much slow down now in the FAWNL for the next few weeks. That win for Boldmere St Michael has secured 5th spot in Division 1 Midlands after they came back from conceding an early goal to beat Notts County by 3-2. And after that game, which you heard live on Switch Sport last Sunday, their captain and midfielder Jade Formaston gave her thoughts to Kevin Moore.
I think we started the game well, and obviously that goal took us a little bit by surprise, but I think the character was good to get back into the game early doors, and I think it was a bit on characters today. Can we go and try and find that way, getting back in? And it was also nice to get that going in at half time, leading 2-1, and taking it into the second half. It was good.
The setback of the early goal you mentioned there when Shanika Barnes put Notts County in front though, but it seemed to wake us up a little bit. Was that sometimes you sense that you needed a bit of a jolt to get yourselves going in that first half?
Yeah, I think it probably did give us a little bit of a wake-up call. Obviously that's never the plan, to go 1-0 down first, but come out of nowhere, I think it was a bit of a surprise. I think it shook us up a little bit and go, right, okay, we need to get hold of this game and go and get back into it, and maybe make those forward passes a little bit more, be a bit more aggressive on and off the ball, and I think we did that. So I think it gave us a bit of a wake-up call. Great
finish by Leonie Joyce, getting on a score sheet. A typical sort of go from Leonie in the sense that she's always very alert what goes on around her, really. Was it a good finish by Leonie Joyce?
Yeah, very good. We're obviously good. We're really happy to have Leo back with us. Obviously she's that kind of striker, plays on the shoulder, and when obviously Leo's in 1v1, you're always backing her to score and confident that she'll go and get the goal. It was a nice calm finish.
So Leonie Joyce getting on a score sheet there, Jade, but going at the break with the advantage as well. What was the team talk? It was very much a case of the same sort of process for the first 15 minutes of the second half. See how things would change after an hour into the game, basically.
Yeah, the team talk. Cole was really happy with us. We were trying to play the patterns, and I think they were coming off. I think Keeley did brilliant up top, holding that ball up, bringing others into play, allowed us everyone else to get up that pitch. I think the patterns were really good in the first half, and it was just more of the same. And obviously then you've got to gauge how they come out. Obviously they're going to come out a little bit fiery going in. Obviously it's hard when you concede just before half time, so they were always going to come out and be aggressive and stuff. So it was just making sure we adapt, making sure we play the right pass, be sensible, manage the game, and build our way back in again.
And you mentioned about Keeley Davis, of course, her contribution and getting on a score sheet was vital this afternoon, getting the winning goal as well to get the 3 points this afternoon. But a good partnership with herself and Leonie Joyce up front.
Yeah, I think obviously Keeley's a massive signing for us. Really good. She's obviously had experience in higher leagues, and we know what Keeley brings. She brings an energy up there. She's an aggressive player. She can hold the ball up. She can run in behind, and she's always a goal threat. And obviously she deserved that goal today. She deserved that winner with the work rate she's put in.
And I know you've got a number of younger players in the squad. It's always bodes well for the future success of the club, isn't it, really, Jade? But Bachang as well, doing well this afternoon.
Yeah.
And also Leila Armanoglu. I've only seen her a few times this season, but a lot of energy she's got on the pitch as well.
Yeah. Like I said, our bench is strong, and that's what we want. Like, you need a squad to win games. The players that are coming on are doing an impact. They're bringing an impact. Latea today, brilliant, holding the ball up, bringing people into play. So we've got a really good squad now. So whoever starts, whoever's coming off the bench, nothing changes, and that's what we want, and that's what you need to have to be winning games.
And let's go the running for the end of this campaign, of course. This maintains your position at 5th place in the table, Jay, but on the horizon, some interesting matches on the horizon for you. Lincoln United and Loughborough Lightning to finish up your campaign for this season. It's been a season of change with Carl Henry coming in, trying to implement things long term for the club, but do you sense there with the way with this result as well in particular, the building blocks are now in place for next season?
Yeah, 100%. I think from the first game of the season to now, you can see the difference. You can see the difference. You can see how we want to play. You can see we've got a game plan. We've got patterns. We can mix it up if we need to. We can play if we want. And I think it's really coming on, and everyone's on that page now. Everything's clicking. So we're in perfect position now going into next season. We've done the groundwork this season. It was the change. We can hit the ground running next season and kick on.
And you mentioned that as well, Jade, as well. You know, it looks like top 5 is going to be a secure position you're going to be in. For a first season, though, to finish in the top half of the table, I think Carl will see that as progress going forward to next season, won't he?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, our aim was to win the league.
Yeah.
Of course it is. But with the way that we've had to adapt to changes, how we play, and I think we've been getting better and better. I think it's a little bit more than just the position that we're finishing in the league this season. It was about learning Carl's ways, learning how we need to play as a team, the styles we can do. So next season, that is our season, and I feel confident that's going to happen.
Next season is our season. Confident words there from the Boldmere St Michael's captain. Still plenty to come on this week's show, including a roundup of Division 1's North, South East and South West, with a promotion party for some.
Switch Radio Sport. This is Switch.
This is the Women's Football Chat on Switch Radio. Still plenty to come then between now and 6 o'clock. We'll move through to Division 1 North, where there was a bit of a thriller between Barnsley and Leeds United. Barnsley eventually taking that win by 3-2. Louise Biggins, Jodie Gregory and Aliana Milliard with the goals for Barnsley. Leeds United, Drew Green and Alice Hughes getting on the board for them, but a narrow 3-2 win for Barnsley. Not much change towards the top of the table though. Cheadle Town beating Norton Stockton Ancients by 2-1. 2 for Imogen Portas-Williams for Cheadle in the 9th minute and the 79th minute. Perhaps getting a little bit nervous there 11 minutes towards the end. Louise Atkinson in the 70th minute had equalised for Norton before Cheadle went back ahead again. Chorley, don't discount them just yet. A 4-1 win over Stockport County. Ella Ritchie, Isabel Binks and 2 for Elizabeth Hamer for Chorley, who they beat Stockport 4-1. Kennedy Owen with the only goal of the game for the visitors. The bottom 2 came up against each other. Doncaster Rovers Bells hosting AFC Fylde, and they played out a 1-1 draw. Jasmine Saxton and Holly Kelsch with the goals for Doncaster and Fylde respectively. Durham Sestra against Middlesbrough. Middlesbrough a 2-1 win in that kind of northeast derby. Jessica Met and Lauren Robson with the goals for Borough. Grace Collinson 12 minutes from time, the only marker for Durham Sestra. And Huddersfield Town beating York City by 2-1. Grace Sykes with the only goal for York in the 67th minute. Charlotte Stewart with the goal for Huddersfield Town in the second half in the 51st minute. And they were helped by an own goal in the first half. So they win by 2-1. What that means for the Division 1 North table is it's still going to go right down to the wire. Cheadle Town remain top with a 45 points and 25 goal difference with 2 games to go. Middlesbrough, 2 games to go, 45 points, a 22 goal difference, just a 3 goal swing in it between those two sides at the moment. Chorley in 3rd still. They've still got a game in hand. They're 6 points back, yes, but if they were to win that game in hand, they would be 3 points back. They've got a goal difference of 18, so any kind of losses for Cheadle and Middlesbrough, and Chorley can get themselves right back into that title fight as well. Huddersfield Town are up to 4th, but they are out of the title race. They're 10 points away from the top with just 3 games to go. Leeds United dropped down to 5th after losing to Barnsley. Durham Sestra in 6th. Barnsley now up to 7th with 23 points from 20 games played. Stockport County down to 8th in their spot. York City in 9th on 18 points. Norton Stockton Ancients in 10th on 17 points. Doncaster Rovers Bells in 11th on 14. AFC Fylde 12th on 13. The bottom 2 have just 2 games to go. So AFC Fylde realistically need to win both of their remaining 2 games, which is Durham Sestra and Cheadletown Stingers, in order to survive. Doncaster Rovers Bells have Middlesbrough and Huddersfield Town, so 2nd and 4th for Doncaster Rovers Bells, and they need a win. Well, they need 3 points. Their goal difference is close enough to Norton and Stockton Ancients that if Norton and Stockton Ancients lose their remaining games, Doncaster get a win, then the goal difference may well flip in Doncaster's favour. But Norton Stockton Ancients, with York City, Barnsley and Chorley still to play, have much more favourable fixtures than Doncaster Rovers Bells. But this fight towards the top said Cheadletown against Middlesbrough. Cheadletown playing Huddersfield, who are 4th, and then Fylde, who are currently 12th. Middlesbrough have Doncaster Rovers Bells, who are currently 11th, and Barnsley, who are 7th. So Middlesbrough, you'd argue, have the slightly easier fixtures. However, if Cheadletown can win that game against Huddersfield Town on the 13th of April, then they will feel very confident going into that final game. Chorley will have a look at their fixtures as well, just because it is, they are still kind of in the mix. 3 away games to finish. Huddersfield in 4th, Leeds in 5th, and Norton Stockton Ancients in 10th. Gut instinct is that they will probably come up just a little bit short this season, but a great season for Chorley nevertheless. Right, Division 1 South East then, a full programme at the weekend and a game on Wednesday night to go through. So Ashford Town against Chatham Town, a 6-0 win for Chatham, a hat-trick for Lottie Sharp, and then 1 each for Lucy Jones, Grace Coombs and Grace Laverick. For Chatham Town means they win by 6-0. Cambridge United 2, AFC Sudbury 4. Good away win for Sudbury. Jade Barrett, Eva Frazzoni, Eleanor Rossiter and Jessica Allen with the goals for Sudbury. Rebecca Stevenson and Alicia Stockcho Down with the goals for Cambridge United, but it's Sudbury who win by 4-2. Rail Bedford, they've got themselves closer to promotion with a 4-0 win against Chesham United. Abby Benstead in the 19th minute, Layla O'Brien in the 26th, then 2 late ones, Freya Tucson in the 90th minute and O'Brien again in the 94th minute with the goals for Rail Bedford. So 4-0 they win. Queen's Park Rangers away at Dulwich Hamlet by 1-0. Courtney Ward Chambers with the only marker in that game in the 22nd minute. London Seaward beating Actonians beating London Seaward rather, I should say, by 6-0 as well. A hat-trick for Alessandra Barreca, a brace for Hannah Lalani, and a goal for Prudence Warmouth as well for Actonians. A big 6-0 win for them. Norwich City won the battle of 2nd versus 3rd to keep their title hopes alive. Kerry Fly and Natasha Snelling with the goals for Norwich City. Samantha Gabion with the goal for London Bees, that one in the 36th minute. And then in midweek, Queen's Park Rangers 6-0 winners away at Ashford Town. 2 for Grace Stanley, 1 for Courtney Ward Chambers, 1 for Emily Hill, 1 for Jessica Cooper, and 1 goal that is missing off the system as well, an own goal there, we'll call it, for Queen's Park Rangers. So they win by 6-0 against Ashford Town. What that means for the table is both relegation spots are now confirmed. Ashford Town, with those 2 6-0 defeats, have been confirmed as being relegated out of Division 1 South East, unless, of course, the 11th spot in the Southern Premier Division, as things stand at the moment, become occupied by Billericay Town, in which case they may survive if they stay in 11th. But towards the top, it's all pretty much the same with the top 2. Rail Bedford, 45 points from 19 games. Norwich City, 41 points from 20. It does mean that Rail Bedford need 1 more win from their remaining 3 games in order to win Division 1 South East. They might do that this weekend. They have their game in hand this weekend. If they are unable to do that, then you would fancy them to beat London Seaward on the 13th of April at home and seal it then. Rail Bedford now 1 win away from winning South East. Norwich City in 2nd. Chatham Town are up to 3rd after Norwich beat London Bees. That's dropped them down to 4th on 35 points. London Bees are out of it. Chatham Town in theory, are still in it, but they're 9 points off the top with 3 games to go and a much worse goal difference. So it is just the top 2, and it looks like Real Bedford are on their way into the Southern Premier Division. Towards the bottom, as I said, both relegation spots are confirmed. Final league to look at then is Division 1 South West. Just 5 games taking place over the last 7 days in this one. Kerry Bartlett in the 10th minute, Brooke Stirrup in the 45+2 gave Keynsham Town a 2-1 win over Bridgewater United. Ellie Mae Bell with the only goal for Bridgewater. Arguably one of the most important results of the weekend, Abingdon United beating Worthing by 2-1. Worthing had taken the lead through Tierney Scott in the 12th minute, but 2 goals in the final 3 minutes of normal time. 88th minute to Molly Dyer and 90th minute to Molly Ligo Jackson gives Abingdon United a 2-1 win and could do wonders for their survival hopes. AFC Bournemouth, they beat Bristol Rovers by 2-0. Jenna Markham and Katie James with the goals at the Vitality Stadium in front of 7,000 fans mean that AFC Bournemouth continue their 100% record this season, but crucially have won Division 1 South West. That title that they missed out on narrowly last season is now theirs. In Maidenhead United 0, Swindon Town 2. Annabelle Colston in the 27th minute. Isabel Cook in the 31st minute gives Swindon Town the 2-0 win. And Moneyfields drawing with Bournemouth Sports 1-1. Katie Kingshot had put Bournemouth in front just before half-time, 2nd minute of added time at the end of the first half. Lucy Cooper equalising for Moneyfields 5 minutes into the second half. What that means then for Division 1 South West, AFC Bournemouth, 18 wins from 18 games. They are now champions of Division 1 South West. They'll be in the Southern Premier Division next season. The question now is, can they go 22 for 22? Everything else in South West remains the same, down to 9th spot. Abingdon United, with their win, means they move up to 9th on 17 points from 19 games. Bournemouth Sports got a point in that game with Moneyfields, but dropped to 10th. They're on 17 points from 19 games. Portishead Town are on 13 points from 19 games. And Southampton Women's, of course, on 3 points, are already relegated. So Abingdon United have done themselves a lot of good. They have now got themselves more than 1 game clear of the drop. Portishead Town then need results from at least 2 of their last 3 games, and they are against Bristol Rovers, who are in 5th, Moneyfields, who are 2nd, and Bournemouth, who are 1st. So it's going to be very difficult for Portishead Town. That result for Abingdon and that point for Bournemouth Sports might just have done enough for them to keep them in South West. Abingdon United also have a game against Southampton Women's to come. Bournemouth Sports, Maidenhead United, Bridgewater United, and Bristol Rovers, so opportunities for them as well. Of course, as things stand at the moment, because of the geography of the team in bottom of the Championship and the Southern Premier Division, as it stands at the moment, 11th spot in South West would be offered safety. So Portishead Town, they might still be okay for another season if everything stays the same above them, but they are reliant at the moment on things staying the same above them. And then there's just one more game to go through then from the weekend. Nottingham Forest beating Stoke City in the final of the FAWNL Cup by 3-1. 2 goals to Charlie Wellings in the 29th and the 32nd minute, and then Melissa Johnson in the 80th minute kind of sealed the game for Forest after Tamara Wilcott, the super sub for Stoke City. They had a free kick, made the substitution. Wilcott came on from halfway, ran into the penalty area. Free kick comes in, headed in. First touch of the game, brought Stoke back into it, but Forest able to get the 3-1 win in that one. And they win the FAWNL Cup for the 2nd time in 3 years. And the last time they won the Cup, they also went on to win the league, and they're looking in a good spot to do that again. So some other teams, I think, will be hoping that Forest get promoted to the Championship, and then they don't have the opportunity to retain that title next year. Fixtures then coming up in the next 7 days. We'll just do that before we hand over to Andrew Richards with the alternative 80s show here on Switch Radio. So Nottingham Forest top of the table against Hull City in 9th. It's a full programme in the Northern Premier Division. Sporting Cowser in 10th against Liverpool Feds, who are 6th. Stourbridge against Halifax, the bottom two coming up against each other. Now they both have to win every game for a chance of survival from here on in, so one of them at least will be relegated by the end of Sunday afternoon. If they draw, then both of them are confirmed as down at the end of Sunday. Also, big game towards the top. Wolverhampton Wanderers against Burnley, 2nd against 4th. Outside chance for both of them now to still claim that top spot away from Nottingham Forest, but a draw won't favour any of them. Burnley, they can only get now to 52, so they really do have to win out to stand any chance. If they're able to take points away from Wolves, that's a huge bonus to Forest. Stoke City in 3rd against Rugby Borough in 5th, so 4 of the top 5 playing each other, and West Bromwich Albion against Derby County. Both those sides now confirmed as safe, so that is just a mid-table, kind of a bit of a dead rubber game really in the Northern Premier Division. But Switch Radio will be at the War Memorial Athletic Ground for Stourbridge against Halifax on Sunday afternoon. Coverage starting at 1:55. On the note of Stourbridge, statement has just come out. This is from the men's side but affects the women's. Is that the last time you will see the War Memorial Ground in its present guise will be for Stourbridge against Bromsgrove on the 21st of April. Essentially, the deterioration of the banks around the War Memorial for the club and for the cricket club, and the stands and the floodlights, they're just too close to these banks. So basically, they're going to have to take everything down, repair the deterioration of these banks, and then rebuild everything again. So they'll have a look at that, and they might have to look at a new ground for next season if the if all the work is delayed. Stourbridge women, just on that note as well, their final game of the season is going to have to move because there is a charity game on that pitch. So Stourbridge women will have to move their final game of the season. There is an article about it out, but yeah, so they're waiting for that venue to be announced. But because it's Stourbridge Old Boys against the West Midlands Legends 11, then Stourbridge against Derby County, Stourbridge Women against Derby County is having to move, which has not gone down particularly well from some of the Stourbridge fan base. So those are the games in the Northern Premier Division. Southern Premier Division, just 2 games. Ipswich Town against Gwalior United, one of Ipswich's other games in hand towards the top, and Cheltenham Town take on Lewis. Cheltenham Town, of course, they're playing their 21st game now. They can't play in the league on the 13th of April because they are taking on Bournemouth in the plate final. So just 2 games there in the south. 1 game in the Midlands, Leafield Athletic against Loughborough Lightning. Leafield in 4th, Loughborough top of the table. If Leafield are able to win that game, then they will move up a place into 3rd, keep the pressure on. Loughborough Lightning win that game, then they will put themselves with a little bit of daylight between themselves and the chasing pack. Division 1 North, Huddersfield Town against Chorley, that is 4th against 3rd. Leeds United against Stockport County, 5th against 8th. And York City against Norton Stockton Ancients, 9th against 10th. So a few close games in Division 1 North this weekend, but neither of the top 2 playing. Chorley will need to beat Huddersfield to stand any chance of staying in that title fight. Division 1 South East, just 1 game, and Real Bedford can win the Division 1 South East title this weekend if they beat AFC Sudbury away from home. They will be too far in front of Norwich City and uncatchable, and they will go straight up into the Southern Premier Division. And Division 1 South West, 4 games at the weekend, but 2 in midweek. So at the weekend, Abingdon United against Bridgewater United, which is 9th against 7th. An opportunity perhaps for Abingdon United and Bournemouth Sports to both confirm their safety. If they get a couple of wins this weekend and Portishead Town lose to Bristol Rovers, then they can both confirm their safety as well this weekend. Bournemouth Sports at home to Maidenhead United, Portishead Town away to Bristol Rovers, Worthing against AFC Bournemouth, 4th against 1st. Then on Wednesday night, AFC Bournemouth take on Southampton Women's, and on Thursday night, Bristol Rovers face Keynsham Town. So Division 1 South-West might be all done and dusted by this time next week. Division 1 South-East might be all done and dusted by this time next week. So that will about do it on this week's Women's Football Chat on Switch Radio. Tomorrow afternoon, we're at the War Memorial Athletic Ground for Stourbridge against Halifax. Both sides must survive to win. Must win to survive another week, rather. Coverage on that starts at 1:55 with Kevin Moore. Free relegations and a promotion also possible on Sunday as the leagues near their conclusion. Thank you for your company this evening. The Alternative 80s show with Andrew Richards is with you after the news at 6.